Hey everybody, this is Captain Kyle. Welcome to another installment of the Future of Cons. I have Inge Heyer, who is the co-con chair of Shore Leave, which is one of my favorite conventions. Takes place in Hunt Valley, Maryland, and it's just a great show. How are you doing today, Inge?
I am doing very well, thank you.
Glad to hear it. Now, as I said, I was crushed last year, and I'm sure a lot of people were, when you had to cancel Shore Leave.
Well, I'd like to pull in here and say, well, we didn't actually cancel. We went virtual last year as well.
That is true. But the in-person experience, there is something about that, you can't exactly experience virtually. Though the virtual one I did attend, and it was a good time. And I understand this one should be even a better time, because you're going to be modeling after the Farpoint experience, which was kind of cool. Talking about the cancellation of the live show, what were some of the difficulties that you had, canceling? Was there like loss of revenue? Was there, complaints on contracts or?
There are various balances here. Yes, of course, you don't bring in as much revenue, but also you don't have as many expenses. Right. Mm-hmm. So, we did fine. And I have to say, I was very grateful that all the fans were very understanding. They said, yeah, of course, it's sad that we can't see each other in person because it's really like coming back to a big family. Right. And but they understood, hey, we have to do this. It's for everyone's safety. So that was really good that we had the support. Now, some of the challenges, of course, were, getting used to all the new tech. Yeah, yes. We all had to learn how to do this. You did it in your job. I did it in mine. At my job, I'm a university professor. They gave us 1 week to flip everything to virtual, right? Now, for Shore Leave, we had a bit more time, but still. Thankfully, we have a great tech managing team that got this all worked out. So what we did last year was had a smaller virtual event on the actual weekend. But then for the 6 months following through the rest of the fall, we had virtual events every other weekend. So either an author panel or a fan panel or a science talk. And we even had a virtual Halloween masquerade event. So, we made use of the environment that we had the best we could. People were interested and participated.
And you had a 6-month con instead of a weekend con, kind of.
Yeah. Yes.
Now, and actually that kind of ties into my next thing I was going to say. Are there some unexpected advantages to a virtual con rather than an in-person one? And one of them, obviously, is you can extend it over a longer period. So any other advantages you found?
Yeah, and our team let us know that while it was cool to extend it that time, they do not want to do this every year.
So that's a disadvantage.
For Shore Leave is a fan-run convention. We all do this on our free time. We all have jobs and families and other things to take care of, and we don't get paid for this. So there's only so much extra time you have. Anyhow, so some of the advantages are that you can have guests and participants who normally could not come to Shore Leave because, let's say, they're overseas, right?
Exactly.
There are many folks we would love to invite, from Europe and Asia and various places, but fact is we just can't afford it, right? So this is one definite advantage. And also a lot of professionals are very busy. They don't necessarily have the time to come to a weekend-long convention. But, hey, sit an hour in front of your screen in your living room, chat with some folks. Yeah, that you can do.
Absolutely.
So that are some definite advantages.
How about some of the downsides? Obviously the lack of hugs. I miss hugging people and.
Yeah. Well, even if it's not hugs, but just to be in the presence of other people, to be able to talk face to face. Yes, you can see facial expressions on the screen, but it's still not the same. Other things which thankfully was not as bad as it could have been is tech issues. If you're in a spot where you have iffy internet, then, that's a problem. But thankfully, we seem to weather all that just fine.
There are obviously differences between running in person.
Oh, yeah.
And a virtual con, and apparently one of them is if you run a virtual con too long, you have a mutiny on your hands. Well,
if you extend it for too long, and it wasn't just the tech people, it was a lot of work for everybody.
Now, hopefully, and of course, barring unforeseen circumstances, next year, is that going to be an in-person event more than likely?
Yes, 2022. Again, as you said, barring anything unforeseen, we should be back in person as normal back at our hotel at the Hunt Valley Inn in Maryland.
Do you think you will continue to have some type of virtual element?
That's an interesting thought, and we haven't talked about it in detail, but I like this idea of being able to bring in folks who would not be able to attend in person because, for example, they're overseas. So we'll talk about it. It's certainly an attractive option.
Yeah, bringing in other people, or even being able to cater to attendees who couldn't actually come in person, but could come virtually. Yeah.
Now we have to see. That also depends a little bit on what sort of virtual environment the hotel can support. Right.
Absolutely.
So there's that as well. But it's something definitely to think about.
Indeed. Because we went through a lot with this pandemic and we had a lot of different types of restrictions and masks and distancing. In light of everything we've learned from this pandemic, are there plans to change some of the in-con procedures or setups or do things a little bit differently? Or is it hoped that these vaccines will do their job and we'll all be Kryptonian supermen?
Well, I don't know about Kryptonian, but there are a couple of issues. Our hotel is the size and configuration the way it is. So, we can't really make that many changes. We will be a little bit more aware about crowding. And, having hand sanitizer stations in various places is probably a good idea. But otherwise, we will go along with whatever mandates are given to us by our local and state government. If there are mandates in place, of course, we will have to abide by them, and we will. Otherwise, we are hoping that we will be able to go back to normal the way it used to be.
And actually, that kind of leads into my next question, because, I love the venue for this con. You can stay in the hotel. You can go back up to your room and change out your cosplay into something less comfortable if you're getting into another cosplay, or you can get, you can rest for a while and then come back to the con. It's a great venue, but as you say, the space is limited. What they have is what they have. They're not going to knock down some walls for you. Are there thoughts about trying to find a larger venue as the convention continues to grow and become more popular?
Not at this time. And there are several reasons. This hotel is actually very nice for what we want to do. We do not want to become, one of those mega cons. We are a mid-sized con, very family friendly, people getting together and so forth, but we don't need to become huge. So I think this size and this venue is perfect for us. And going back to your previous question, yes, of course, that means it's sometimes a bit more crowded, but I know that our fans are all sensible folk and they will all get vaccinated.
Let us, from your lips to God's ears, or Q's ears.
No, but this is something I really would like the fans to hear, that, please get vaccinated. And not just for the convention. It's just, to give yourself, everyone, your loved ones, your acquaintances, everybody some protection.
Yeah, it's protecting not only yourself, but other people, which is great. Now, you do have the virtual con coming up. Again, the same weekend, but it's not going to be extended out 6 months. We understand. No. But are there any special events or events of note that you want to point out that are coming up on the virtual con? Well,
we will have actor Q&A. And first of all, general attendance is free virtually. So we have actor Q&A. There are some options to purchase some special things, such as one-on-one chats with the actors and some autographs. Other than that, we will have author and fan panels, and I have seen the write-ups for the author panels, and they are exciting. The authors, our author guests get together and they come up with these panels, and it's going to be very good. Then we will have science presentations. We have about a dozen scientists who will tell us all about the latest in their fields. We will have a Filk concert, which has as one of this year's guests, Leslie Fish. I don't know if this name means anything to you, but to any of the traditional Filkers, Leslie Fish is a big name.
The Filking folk,
I am so stoked about this. I am definitely going to listen to this. Now, I should point out a couple more names. Again, this is due to the virtual environment. Kirsten Beyer, the author, will be able to join us. She is one of the writers for the new Star Trek series that are being streamed right now.
Okay,
and she is, and she is one of those cases where normally she would just be too busy to take a whole weekend off. But, she can give us an hour or however many panels she wants to do. So that works. We will also have Erin McDonald as one of the science presenters. She is the science advisor for the current streaming Star Trek series. So she'll talk about the physics of Star Trek. So that's very good. As a matter of fact, if at this time I may be able to share my screen really quickly, I will just show you the website. So here are our actor guests for this virtual event this year: Aimee Garcia, Adam Baldwin, and Eddie McClintock. And there may be one more, but I don't know about that yet. So these three will be joining us. So again, there will be Q&A, and you can purchase, if you want, one-on-one 2-minute chats with these three folks, as well as autographs. Now, let me go to the next page. We also have authors. So here you can see, just very briefly, the many authors we have.
And I recognize a lot of them from my Star Trek bookshelf.
Oh, yes. Star Trek and other things, many other things. They'll be talking about various projects they're involved in and new and upcoming books, anthologies, and so forth. And then here are our scientists. They will talk again about current research in their fields, various sorts of interesting things. So again, as I said, Erin McDonald will be talking about the physics of Star Trek and her involvement in the science advising for the current Star Trek series. Then Jerry and Wayne will talk about looking at the sun during the day, safely, of course. Steve Lesnick will talk about ransomware. So he's a computer specialist.
So, and he also carries around a galaxy just so he can show it off.
Yes. He is also a wizard of sorts. So anyway, lots and lots of very interesting topics. Oh, and Jordan will talk about citizen science. So how everyone can get involved in scientific projects. Lots and lots of activities to be enjoyed.
Sounds like a lot of fun. And it actually, the environment, as I recall, you'll be using the same one that Farpoint was using, where you can actually have a little avatar walks around, can join little circles of people chatting. I think we chatted briefly at the Farpoint con as well.
So, I mean, these two, the environments we'll be using is, of course, Zoom. So the panels and the presentations and so forth and the Q&A will be in Zoom. But the environment itself, where everybody is moving around, is called Gather Town. And that's where, as you said, you'll have an avatar and you can walk around. And it has been designed so it looks like the interior of our hotel. So you can, walk to the dealers or the vendor room, and you can walk to, your various panel rooms or to the ballroom. I really like that environment just because it works naturally. We're also using Discord for some other activities.
And what's great is you can go down the escalator and it won't squeak and shake. So that's kind of a great thing.
There will be no spillage of coffee on the escalator this year.
That is awesome.
Yes. I should mention that since that just came up, we do have a vendor room. in GatherTown. So there are vendors there, just like we normally have the dealer's room, right? And you can engage with the vendors. They have their websites. You can buy stuff from them, either at the conventions or afterwards. And we'll also have fan tables and club tables, so you can talk to people from other clubs and people from other conventions.
Excellent. So next year, when we have the in-person, in addition to the prospect of spilling your coffee on the escalator, what else do fans have to look forward to for next year? Any thoughts that you can share? I mean, I realize it's early.
When we had to go virtual last year, the guests that we had signed up at the time said, yes, they would definitely come back the next year. Now, of course, now it's next year, and we still have to go virtual. So, but they still have indicated that they are interested, schedules permitting, to come back. So we expect to actually see these folks next year in person.
All right.
At least some of them. Again, schedules permitting, you never know what comes up.
That's always very true. So do you have any thoughts on the future of Shore Leave and other conventions after, this time of, how shall we say, desolation in the con world?
Conventions will certainly continue. Maybe incorporating some of the virtual aspects might be considered. So I think that would be a good idea. In general, and this has been true already for a number of years, the traditional fandom that we knew is aging. So we would really like young folk to get involved and get involved, not only coming to the conventions, but be involved in running the conventions, and that they will change with, new styles or new ways of doing things. But we need more people involved.
Definitely go check out the website.
Yep. And we are also on Facebook and on Twitter.
Yep. Follow them on Twitter. Check them out on Facebook. And yeah, definitely, if you want to get involved, reach out to them. And as I said, this is one of my favorite conventions of the year. They also usually have karaoke, which unfortunately will probably not be in the virtual environment.
No, because it's very tricky coordinating the songs. So that's why, we have some musical activity, but if you have more than one person doing it together, they have to actually be in the same location. Yeah. Otherwise, it gets a little tricky.
So hopefully next year we will have the karaoke back. Yeah, we always have some great times there. What's nice about the in-person con is it runs like late into the evening, and you can have all kinds of fun. Yeah, with all kinds of fans.
Our programming, virtual programming this year is Saturday and Sunday, and we'll run on Saturday 10 to about midnight, and on Sunday 10 a.m. to maybe 6-ish or so.
So similar, except you're just cutting out the Friday because people are probably working. Thank you, Inge, so much for joining us and telling us what we can expect from Shore Leave. Again, shore-leave.com. Check it out online. Follow them on Facebook. Follow them on Twitter. And everyone, thanks for tuning in and watching. I hope this gives you a little bit more information about what to expect in the con world. We will see you all next time. And as always, have fun and follow your fandom.